Alma, thank you so much for that great introduction. And Leticia, thank you for the leadership that you provide this great academy, for the opportunity that you give these young students that are the future of our state. I also want to give a special thanks to the Advisory Council, Miguel Romano, for inviting me. Thank you so much for believing that these students needed to hear my story. And a story that I'm excited to share with you, because I hope that whenever there's a thought of a weakness or a doubt of what your future may be or if you will get there, I hope that you'll remember this luncheon and say, you know what, if she could do it, I could too. So that, I look forward to sharing that story with you. But, you know, for the students that are participating in this program, I congratulate you, I salute you for doing this. Many times, there are programs that are made available, and the students are perhaps afraid or perhaps not comfortable, but you all took that step, and you all joined, and you're here, so you all deserve an applause because you're very fortunate to be able to participate in this great program. So let's give each other a round of applause. You know, many people, when you hear my bio, many people ask, well, you know, how did you do it? Was your father in politics? Do you come from a family that had political interests? And the answer is no. I don't come from a family that had political interests. As a matter of fact, my background is that my father was from Mexico. My mother was from Texas. They met here picking cotton in Yoakum, Texas. And you know, my father thought that coming to the United States, he'd be able to provide or have a better life, and that when he got married, he'd be able to provide a better life for his family. So truly, you know, he believed that this was a land of unlimited opportunity. And so I was a shrimp of a little girl that kids made fun at because I was small. I didn't speak English. My parents didn't speak English. We were poor, although I never knew we were poor because I was rich with love from them. And I didn't play any sports. So I was never the little girl that anybody invited on their team. And you see, this is me at first grade, and there I am at 4 years old. So I don't look like a little girl that anybody would want on their basketball team. And sometimes I'd get invited for baseball, but they'd leave me on the bench. Okay, but if you fast forward, okay, we're going to fast forward to several years. Amy? You're going to see that all those that never invited me to their team, after this happened, everybody wanted me on their team. Half of San Antonio was there. How many of you all are from San Antonio? Okay. I bring this video to you because I wanted you to share in the pride of being from the west side of San Antonio, from being a little girl that, you know, was made fun at, to becoming the first Latina Secretary of State of the second largest state in the nation. Anything is possible. The great news that I bring you also is that you live in Texas, in a state where it doesn't matter what your last name is. It doesn't matter where you come from. All that matters is how hard you're willing to work to get where you want to be. That's all it does. There's no magic formula. I'm not here to give you a formula that says in 10 years you will be this. The magic formula is education. Okay? We've got to break that barrier where people say that we as Hispanics are not educated. Now, I come here to UT, and every time I come here, I get goosebumps because it's an incredible institution. You know, when I traveled the world as Secretary of State promoting Texas, people would come up to me and say, I'm a Longhorn. And I'd say, you're a Texan. No, I'm a Longhorn. The spirit, the pride is incredible, and it will be with you for the rest of your life. But if you don't come to Texas, it's okay, as long as you get on some college campus. Now, you know, my story is that I didn't go to school until I was in my 20s, because my parents didn't understand the importance of education. But once my husband and I got married at 18, once my husband and I went to work and realized that we weren't going to move up and we didn't get an education, we signed up for night school, weekend school, wherever we could get our education. But I want to share with you that there are roots in this Andrade family from UT because my daughter-in-law graduated from UT. So let me show you my family. Here's my daughter-in-law and my grandson Alejandro at a UT game. Here's Ramirito with his Longhorn pajamas and robe, getting ready to prepare for bed. And when you ask him what is he going to dream, he says, Grandma, I'm going to dream that one day I'm going to play football at UT. That's a dream. And I don't discourage him. I don't want to tell him, Mijito, you're so little. I don't know that you'll ever be able to play football. Your grandma wasn't a good athlete, but I never tell him that. So one day, who knows? He may be, okay? Here he is at school, okay? It was his birthday. What did he ask for? A Longhorn decorated cake to make sure that all his friends knew that one day he's going to be a Longhorn, okay? Look, they're cooking in their jerseys. That's our favorite thing. Once they get home from school, to put on their jerseys and play or cook or whatever. And this is the yearly pumpkin at their doorstep. Do you think there's any question of what their dreams are of where they're going to go to school? So I hope that you also have a dream of some school, any college campus. You know, when I walked around a little bit and got to meet some of you, and I hear about the dreams that you have, about a pediatrician, about an accountant, about a nurse anesthesiologist, a physical therapist. That's great. I didn't have many dreams. You know, my mother had 2 goals for me. Remember, I come from parents that didn't understand the importance of education. My mother's first goal, and I know you don't relate to this, and I don't want you to relate to this, but maybe your parents or your grandparents do, is that I should get married right after high school because that was what was expected of me. And so being the good daughter that I am, I got married when I was 18 as soon as I finished high school. The second goal that my mother had for me was that she knew of a woman down the street that was a secretary. And she admired her because she'd see her dress up every morning and walk out to the bus stop, and she'd tell me about she worked in an office, and he said, ay, mijita, you know, tiene una oficina. Well, I granted my mother's second wish also. I became a Secretary of State. So my story is that I came from the west side of San Antonio to having my very own office, not just an office, a suite on the east side of the Capitol. So anything is possible through hard work. I also believe that a lot of the self-confidence that I have today is because of the love of my parents. You know, Abraham Lincoln once said that his success, he owed it to his mother. And I would tell you that the same thing. The love that my mother offered me, provided for me, and mind you that I was adopted. And so there was a lot of rejection in the family because back then when you were adopted, you weren't as accepted as a family member. But my mother absolutely adored me unconditionally. And my father taught me hard work. He was a gardener. He'd often would take me on his jobs during the summer to help him bag leaves or just, be there with him. And he'd open those garage doors of these affluent neighborhoods in Alamo Heights and Terrell Hills. And he'd point into those garages and he would say, "You see that Cadillac?" And I'd say, "Yes." And he says, "I want you to work hard so that one day you can have a Cadillac, mijita." And so the story of that is that one day I did buy a Cadillac, but I bought it for him. And that was my motivation. My motivation was that my parents loved me so much and I loved them back so much. I wanted to make them proud. I wanted to make them proud. And so everything I did was to make them proud. I worked since a very early age, since I was 12 years old, because I always wanted to help them, to provide a little bit more for them so my dad didn't have to work 2 or 3 jobs. Immediately afterwards, it was the gratification of seeing my mother open a bag and I had bought her some new shoes or a new blouse. And that made the difference for me. That was my inspiration and my motivation. Today, after my parents have been long gone, my motivation are those, actually one grandson is missing out of that photo. It's those 3 grandsons I have. I want them to be proud. I want them to one day walk back into the state capitol, walk into the secretary's office, and that they tell them, "This is the photo of your grandmother." And history will hopefully be able to give them a great story and be able to say, your grandmother was a, I keep confusing mother and grandmother. My husband keeps reminding me they're not my children, they're my grandchildren. I keep telling my daughter that they are my children. But anyway, they will be told that their grandmother was a great public servant. My turning point in my life was that I started a business in my late 20s. And I had an idea. I believed in it. I believed in myself. And I started a business. It wasn't very common during that time to start a business. But in business, everything is about timing. And so it was the right time for the service that I provided. So I started a business with a business partner. We grew our business into 3 companies, into 400 employees, lots of hard work, lots of determination, lots of perseverance of not giving up, even when people would tell us, "Go back to your job at IBM. What are you doing trying to make your own business?" We just kept on. We believed in it, and I will tell you that in 2004, we sold that company that we once started from an idea to a publicly traded company for millions of dollars. So we realized what we like to say, not just the American dream, but the Texas dream. So for me, that was a turning point, the fact that I was able to start my own business, that I was able to work hard, become successful. And then I got to the point that my business allowed me the opportunity, because I had hired enough people to manage day-to-day operations. I learned to let go and believe that people could do the same as I could in my business. And I started getting involved in my community. And I was so grateful for the success that I had had, for the opportunities that I had been given, that it was only right to give back. And so I started getting involved in not-for-profits. I started getting involved in chambers and realizing that not only was I learning, but also I was sharing some of my learning experiences with members. And so in 2004, Governor Perry called the city of San Antonio and said, "We're expanding the number of commissioners on the Texas Department of Transportation. Please send me a name of an individual that you think might be qualified for that position." Well, because I had served in the community, I was known as a woman that not only that I did what I said I was going to do, that I was responsible, that they could depend on me, that I delivered, and I had served on our local transit authority board, that the leadership of the community called me in and asked me if I'd be interested in applying. I did, Fast forward, in 2004, I was named to the Texas Department of Transportation, one of the largest state agencies in the state, first Latina to serve. And when I walked into that commission meeting, I will tell you, I was scared to death. First of all, I had never seen so many tall people, okay? Most of them were engineers. For those of you that have an engineering mind, I congratulate you, because it's amazing the way you think. And so I thought, oh my God, what am I bringing to this commission? They're probably looking at me and thinking, are you kidding me? She's gonna be our new commissioner? But you know what? I invested, I prepared, I read every page. I didn't say much, okay, at the beginning. I listened, I learned, I watched how everybody else worked, the other 3 commissioners. And do you know that 3 years later, I became their chair? The first female chairwoman of the Department of Transportation in its 90-year history. Yes, I've made history in these positions, but with that history comes responsibility, because I'm standing on the shoulders of many others that have worked hard. And so I feel that I have a responsibility to you, that I do not just a good job, and my staff, Liz is here and Amy's here, they know, because they've worked with me for 4.5 years, they know that we not only work to meet performance measures or to meet goals, we blow your socks off. We exceed them. To just meet means that you're just, happy. You know, you're driving home and you say, okay, today I met my goals, I'm good. You know what happens when I drive in the morning at 6 o'clock and I see the most beautiful sunrise? I'm excited about what I'm going to do. As I'm driving home and I'm seeing the most beautiful sunset, I'm excited that I exceeded the goals that we set for that day, that we made a difference in people's lives, that I'm working hard to make sure that we leave that door wide open for any of you. And that's what we need to do. That's what you need to do when you reach some of your goals, is to not forget that we have a responsibility to each other, to make each other proud. You know, one day, I had a young lady in my office that was my speechwriter, and she said to me, I hope I'm making you proud with my speeches. And I said, you're making me very proud. I said, I hope that when I speak up there, I make you proud. And that's what it's about. It's about working with each other, being a team, making each other proud. And most of all, being proud of yourself. You know, when I think about it, you know, I use so many quotes all the time, and I thought, well, I'll share some of those with you, but I thought, quotes you can read, you can find them. The wisdom that I'm sharing with you are real life experiences that you can't read in a book. It's been what I experienced, how I lived my life. And it's all about, like I said, working hard, surrounding yourself with people that believe in you. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for people that believed in me. Subiendo believes in you. The sponsors that are here believe in you. Take advantage of that. You've got to believe in each other. When people first told me that I was smart, I thought, I am? My mother used to tell me I was beautiful. I am? Compliment each other. Compliment yourself. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm pretty proud of myself. 5 foot and all? Yeah. Of course, my husband had to move everything to be eye level. And he said, give me a break. When people walk in, they think I'm also short. All our art pieces are eye level, you know? But be proud of yourself. Believe in yourself and believe in others. And for those that are naysayers, stay away from them. You're not going to change their mind. You know, if somebody says, oh, you're not going to make, you want to be a what? A pediatrician? You're crazy. And I say, you know what? I'll show you. When those people were laughing at me, I showed them, didn't I? And so you've got to keep focused on the goal. You've got to make sure that you're proud of yourself, that you do, and you've got to be happy. One of the things that I've learned is that you've got to be happy. And when you find something that you're going to do in life that you're excited about, you'll never think you work a day in your life. You know, today, I probably average 80, 85 hours a week. And people are always asking, what do you take besides B12 vitamin? I tell them, I don't take anything. I'm excited about life. I'm excited about what I'm doing. Secretary of State, some of the interesting things that would happen to me was that nobody expected that, when you travel the world and they know that you're from Texas, you've heard the saying that everything is bigger in Texas. Well, they'd look at me and they'd say, are things still bigger in Texas? And I'd say, of course they are. The governor just made me because he wanted to make sure that we had diversity in this state. But yes, things are bigger in Texas, but so are our futures. And you have an incredible future. Being on the Texas Workforce Commission, I encourage you to visit our website to find out about labor market data, where the most demand and jobs are. We've got a website, a reality check, that you can go on, that you can find out, which jobs pay. Take advantage. People want to help you. We all believe in you, and we want to help you, and we see success in every one of you. Would you have seen success in me? Would you have been able to say, God, that little girl back there, she's going to be a Secretary of State? No, but I knew that I wanted to be somebody. I knew that I wanted to do bigger and better things for my parents, to make them proud, to help them. My father came to this country to provide a better life for me. I wanted to work hard to also provide a better life for him. But, I brought some important things for you to remember about, but I do want to stress on the importance that Texas has the largest Hispanic population, or one of the states that has the largest. And so I want to make sure that you understand how important it is for you to pursue a college education and help us raise those numbers. I think the last time I read, out of the 5 million that we've got in young Hispanic students, only 11% have a college education. We need to raise that, and you need to help us. Just as I work hard to make sure that I leave that door wide open, you need to work hard to make sure, because you know what? The minute that you become a college graduate, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, they'll follow you. It takes one. And the minute that one of you does that, the rest will. If you already have brothers and sisters that graduate from college, you also are following their footsteps. My daughter-in-law today has a PhD. And when I talk to my grandsons, there's no doubt in their mind that they're either going to do the same or better. Even that little football player, he talks about making sure that he's just as good as his mom. My son also went to a private university, and he consults. He was in business with me. And today, he's able to share the love, the experiences, the fact that he found a good wife. I give her all the credit. I give him little credit. I give my grandsons all the credit. But anyway, but family's important. And so remember that, and be nice. Don't forget to be nice. Be grateful. Even for the things that we wish we had that we don't have, be grateful for what you do have. Be grateful for this opportunity. Be nice to each other. When I leave offices after I finish my terms, I'm always proud and pleased at the fact that people are saddened when I leave versus glad that I'm leaving. And it's because I've always made sure that I'm nice, I'm respectful, I pay attention to people. Those are very important things that we must never forget to do. The other thing that I also want you to remember is that fear is something that we can overcome. I'm still scared. I'm thinking already of what I'm going to do next, and I get scared. But I don't let that control me. And what happens when you accomplish something that you were scared of, it's an awesome feeling because you did it. So don't let fear control your future, okay? Make sure that you step out of that comfort zone, what feels very comfortable, into a faith zone that you know that you're going to get done. Don't forget to Show up. I think Yogi Berra said 80% of success is just showing up. A lot of times we get invited to things or we get invited to participate and we say, no, I couldn't do that. Okay. Oh, no, I'm too busy. But you know what? You show up, you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what you're going to learn. So show up. It is so important that we be present. Many times I'm the only Latina woman at an event. And so I asked, didn't we invite? I said, yes, nobody else showed up. So don't be afraid. Be proud. Walk in, shake hands, introduce yourself. Show up. And then, of course, the hard work. Don't be afraid of hard work. To me, that's one of the most important things that we must remember. And I think that one of the things I'd like to be remembered for is that I never forgot to reach back and bring someone else along me. You know, I want to show you a photo. When I was sworn in, that is the third grade class from my elementary school. I invited them to come join me because I wanted them to see, and this is from an inner city school, and so we arranged for a bus to bring the girls to the swearing-in ceremony. We gave them a tour here on the campus. We gave them a tour of the Capitol. We provided them lunch on the bus. And they got to experience, they got to see, and I spoke to them during my swearing-in speech because I wanted to tell them, I was in your chair, in that chair one day, and look at where I am today. Anything is possible through education, hard work, and staying focused on your goals. So that's the message I bring you. And I hope that you will think in the future, think back to my talk. And there are days that you will feel like you can't. There are days that you will hear that you can't. But no one should control your future. You should be in charge of your future. And today, I will tell you that it is your time. There are so many programs, so many resources, so many people that are willing to help you, to guide you. All you need to do is ask for it and create a plan in your mind of what you want to do, and you will get there. So muchísimas gracias. It's been an honor. I see this state with a great future when I look out into the audience. And so at this time, I'd like to open it up for any questions that you may have. And if you'll come up to the microphone, I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you so much.